Howdy folks, it's Jay and you're watching DS Tech Media. Today in this video we're going to be installing the Nextcloud on your Raspberry Pi. Much like this one here. This is mine, it's a Raspberry Pi Model 2B+, and I'm using a 32 gigabyte micro SD card for the storage. So what is Nextcloud? Well, it's like a Dropbox or Google Drive, Microsoft's OneCloud, a personal cloud server. It's 100% free and open source. No limit to your data, aside from how much storage you hook up to it. So there's no data mining, no invasion of privacy. You're going to be running it on your own hardware. It's a good practical example of a Linux server. It's a web server running the LAMP stack. That's Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. You do need to run the server on Linux on your Pi. But the apps are available for mobile and all the desktop platforms. You're going to need a Raspberry Pi 2 or 3. You're going to need a micro SD card. And you're going to need an SD card to micro SD adapter. You're also going to need a power supply. I'm using a 2400 milliamp for mine. I think the Raspberry Pi 3 might need a larger one. It's best to use an Ethernet cable. You're also probably going to need administrator access to your router if you want to port forward this for use outside of your home. We're not going to go into that. There's lots of guides available online for how to port forward. We're going to need a Ubuntu-Core image for your specific Raspberry Pi. Okay, so one of the first things, we're gonna go to ubuntu.com/core. Ubuntu-Core is a special version of Ubuntu. It is designed specifically for the Internet of Things devices or anything that's gonna be left alone, not interacted with directly, something where you want automatic updates, something where security is important. It uses snap packages instead of Debian packages, and it does not use the apt package manager. Instead, it uses snaps. The best thing about it is that it's much smaller than regular Ubuntu. It doesn't include most of the built-in stuff. It's very stripped down, and everything needed to run the snaps are included in them. This is why it is the fastest and easiest way to set up a Nextcloud server without having to go through all the different steps of setting up a LAMP stack and all of that. And see, it's very small, 350 megabytes, tamper resistant. So go to download, Raspberry Pi. Of course, pick Raspberry Pi 2 or 3. I've already installed or downloaded the Raspberry Pi 2 edition. I highly recommend going with the stable, by the way. And then go up top, and if you don't already have one, you're going to want to create a Ubuntu SSO account. let me log into okay, so we'll go ahead and copy these directions. We're gonna make directory home, and then it's a hidden directory SSH. I've already got it made, and we're gonna chmod 700 on that directory, and then we're gonna use SSH keygen -t RSA and go ahead and hit enter for the default. Overwrite, in my case, yes. And then if you want a passphrase, you're gonna enter that now. And once again, if you want a passphrase, you're gonna enter that again. Okay, now cd home ssh ls la. You can see we've got two files in there now, idrsa and idrsa.pub. idrsa.pub is what you need, so you can use less to open that, and you're gonna want to copy this whole thing here and paste it into here, and you're gonna hit import, and that's it. Now, by now you should have finished downloading your Raspberry Pi image, so you're gonna need to write that to your SD card, your micro SD card. So I'm gonna go through that here. I did this on my laptop because I don't have an SD card slot on my desktop. I used Genome disks, and you're gonna restore disk image, and you just go to where you downloaded your Ubuntu-Core 16 image.exe, and it'll probably take a little longer than this. I've sped it up here. Now, for some reason, when I wrote my image, it didn't take up the rest of my 32 gigabyte SD card with the writable partition. So I actually had to go ahead and open gparted to resize it. Because Genome Disk doesn't support resizing. And you're going to want to go to that one that's extension 4 and resize move. And you're going to take that one and make sure that the new size is at the maximum it can go with no space preceding or following. And you're going to hit resize. And once it's done, you're going to be ready to insert the micro SD card into your Pi for the this one-time setup, you're gonna need to use a keyboard and you're gonna need to hook your Pi up to a monitor just for this one-time setup. When you get your Pi up and running, you're going to be greeted with a screen that says hit enter to configure. You're gonna pretty much just accept everything, and then the final thing is going to be to enter the credentials you used when you set up your Ubuntu SSO account. Also, you're going to want to take note of your IP address for your Pi, because that's what you're going to be using to log in. Okay, now we're going to log into the Pi using credentials that we set up. So and the first thing you're going to want to do is log in to the Snap store. So that's going to be sudo snap login. And you're going to enter the email address that you signed up with. So now that we're logged in, we can do a sudo snap refresh. And once that's done, you're actually going to want to go ahead and do a sudo reboot now. Once your Raspberry Pi boots back up, go ahead and log back in. And do a sudo snap find nextcloud. This is the official version. This is the one we want right here. Sudo snap install nextcloud. Now I already have it installed, obviously. And if you want to use HTTPS, you can just go ahead right now and do nextcloud.enable-https. And I recommend doing self-signed. If you don't want HTTPS, then just go ahead and skip this part. And you're gonna get this warning if you enabled HTTPS, and you're gonna need to add an exception. And if it's your first time, you're gonna set up a username and a password. Obviously, I already have one set up. And from within your Nextcloud, you can customize some of the looks. You can install all kinds of apps, just tons of apps, video conferencing apps, so many apps. And you can monitor activity, you can give out make more accounts for other users, your friends, family. You can give out links that expire. The gallery basically is just an overview of all of your image files that you have installed. It really can do a lot of things. It's very, very cool web app. Just really well built. It's made from the team that originally made OwnCloud, and they actually left OwnCloud to start Nextcloud on their own because they wanted it to be more free and open source, whereas OwnCloud was more focused on making money from the enterprise. And that's it. That's the hardest part. Now you have a Nextcloud server up and running, and you're probably gonna want to go ahead and get a Nextcloud application for your distribution. So you got your desktop clients. The Linux app image, I don't use it. I'm on Arch on this machine, so I installed it from the Arch user repository. It should be available in Ubuntu, and of course there's a PPA for that with instructions, so you're just gonna have to follow these instructions based on your machine. And once you do have it downloaded, just gonna go ahead and run that, and you'll be adding a new account, and you're gonna need HTTP or HTTPS, and in my case it's my local address. It'll be your outside address when you port forward it. And you'll be able to sync all of your stuff up. Now, one other thing, if you want to take notes and whatnot, one application I like is QownNotes. And in order to use QownNotes, you're going to want to go back into your Nextcloud and go to Apps over here on the right. And it's listed under Tools. Everything's in alphabetical order, but mine's at the top because it's enabled. You're going to want to enable the QownNotes API in order to get the full integration with QownNotes. And QownNotes is a really just a great note-taking program. Supports to-do lists and everything. you can do markdown, and it even supports, you know, photos and everything. It's a really good markdown based note-taking app. And of course, you can go ahead and install the Nextcloud app on your Android or iOS devices through your App Store. Also, it's available on F-Droid for Android, besides the Google Play Store. Alright, well that's all I have for you today, folks. I hope someone found this video tutorial to be useful. I'll be doing more in the future, so let me know what you want to see. I'll also be covering news, reviewing hardware, and focusing on basically just anything tech related, especially focusing on Linux and open source. Once again, thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please subscribe or leave a like or in a comment. I'm Jay, and thanks for watching DS Tech Media. I'll see you in the next one.